I've been thinking about New Year's resolutions lately and how even just that phrase doesn't feel quite right. It feels heavy and kind of off-putting. Hi, I'm Kobe, and if you're over 40 like me and heading into a new year thinking about making a change to your health and fitness, I'd like to offer you a reframe, something different. Because for a lot of women at this stage of life, New Year's resolutions don't feel exciting anymore. They feel heavy, they feel restrictive, they feel temporary and unsustainable. You might notice this internal push and pull. Part of you wants to feel better, stronger, more energized, more like yourself again. But another part of you doesn't want to repeat what you've done before because we already know how this ends. We've done it multiple times and we don't want to do it like that again. If that's you, I want you to know that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. What's happening is that you're trying to use an old model on a different body, a different nervous system, and a different season of life. Before I go further, I want to touch on something important because I'm going to refer back to it later. When we talk about the nervous system, we're talking about the part of the body that is constantly asking one main question. Am I under threat or am I supported enough to function well? Do I feel safe? This doesn't always have to do with physical danger, but it's about the stress load. Things like over-restriction, too much intensity, feeling pressured, rushed, or judged, constantly feeling like you're behind or failing. All of that tells the nervous system, this isn't sustainable, this isn't safe. And when your nervous system feels overwhelmed, your body doesn't respond by cooperating, it responds by protecting you. That's when motivation and energy drop, recovery slows, and consistency becomes really hard. This matters a lot after 40 because our tolerance for stress changes. We don't bounce back the same way we used to. The hormones shift, and the ones that were meant to support that stress system are backing away. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward here. I want to talk about the two traps that women over 40 often fall into. What I see again and again are two very common ways of thinking. The old model, the one that most of us know very well, January hits and we think, okay, it's time to be disciplined. I just need to push myself a little bit harder. I need to get a little more strict on what I'm doing. So we do more. We eat less, we add rules, we increase our intensity. And at first, it kind of works, but then life happens. Energy dips, hormones fluctuate, recovery takes longer, life happens. The plan that was built on this pressure starts to fall apart. So by February or March, we know what happens. The gym gets quieter, not because we don't want our goals anymore, but because the model we're following is just too heavy to sustain. And when it stops working, then we turn that blame inward, right? Why can't I stick to anything? What's wrong with me? I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not trying hard enough. We've all talked to ourselves in this way before. The second trap is the freeze trap. It's quieter, but it's just as common. This is because we know that that old way doesn't work anymore, but we don't know what does. We don't know what to do instead. So instead of risking the failure of that, we do nothing. Not because we don't care, but because we don't want to feel defeated. We don't want to trigger that inner critic. We don't want to start something that we can't finish. This often turns into a low-level loop of self-judgment and frustration. And again, the exact opposite of the empowerment that we want to feel, the success that we want to feel. There is a third option. And it's not extreme, it's not punishment, and it's not giving up. It's a reframe. So instead of asking yourself, what should I force myself into this year? We start asking, what does my body actually respond well to now? This approach works with your nervous system instead of against it. It signals that feeling of safety and security. It's supportive, it's realistic, and most importantly, it's sustainable. That's what we want now. This is where the mindset piece comes in because our thoughts create our feelings and our feelings drive our actions. The old resolution thought often sounded like, I need to fix myself. What can I do to fix this? That thought creates pressure. Pressure creates tension, and tension leads to burnout or avoidance. Now compare that to a different starting thought. I want to support my body. How can I support myself now? That thought creates a feeling of being met instead of being pushed. And when our nervous system feels supported, consistency becomes possible and likely. Not because you're forcing it, but because your body isn't resisting it. This is why things like moderate strength training and fun movement work, nourishing food, rest, rhythms that we can maintain. These work better than extremes in midlife. So if you're standing at the edge of a new year feeling unsure about resolutions, here's what I would like you to know. You don't need to go back to the old way, and you don't need to stay stuck doing nothing. There is a middle ground. a more effective and efficient way forward. And it starts with changing how you think about change, not pushing yourself harder into it. If this resonates, I'd love to hear in the comments, which of those two traps have you found yourself in? Maybe both at times. And if you're curious about what this middle ground can look like for you in real life, that's the work I do every day with women in their 40s and beyond. We don't need to be fixed. We need to be supported.